Welcome to a new Happy Learning video. Today, we're going to talk about some animals that existed 65 million years ago. I am sure you have heard about the dinosaurs, and I'm certain you have seen them in many films and cartoons featuring dinosaurs. But not everything that is told in these films is correct. So if you don't mind, let's find out what they are really like and how they lived. The first thing we need to understand is that people and dinosaurs never lived together. The dinosaurs lived before human beings existed, and they roamed the earth for approximately 135 million years. That's a really long time. They were the dominating vertebrates. Nowadays, more than 500 different species have been identified, thanks to bones and fossils found. All dinosaurs were oviparous, meaning they reproduced by laying eggs. But there were huge differences between them. Some were very small, while others were absolutely enormous. So as to learn about them better, we have divided them into two major groups, Ornithischia and Curiosity. What complicated names they have! The Ornithischia, or bird-hipped dinosaurs, were herbivore, which means they only ate plants. The most well-known was the Triceratops. They were impressive, huh? The Curiosity, or lizard-hipped dinosaurs, were the ancestors of the crocodiles and lizards. Among these species, they were carnivores and herbivores, and with them then, the two most famous dinosaurs, the Diplodocus and the Tyrannosaurus. The Diplodocus was the largest dinosaur. In 1907, an entire skeleton was found, measuring 27 meters. Although remains of these specimens have been found exceeding 50 meters. In these images, you can observe just how enormous they were. The Tyrannosaurus was and still is the most fearsome predator which has ever existed on our planet. It was more than 4 meters high and could be up to 12 meters in length. In its mouth, it had 60 razor-sharp pointed teeth, and it could run 65 kilometers per hour. The truth is, I would be absolutely petrified if I would come across such an animal. But wait a minute. How was it possible that such large and powerful animals completely disappeared off the face of the Earth? Currently, the investigators are focusing on two big theories. The first is based on the impact of an asteroid or comet from outer space. The other theory maintains that the cause of the dinosaurs' disappearance was due to a period of enormous volcanic activity. We actually still don't really know the truth. But what we do know with absolute certainty is that right now, at this very moment, there are still many animals in great danger of being extinct and could even disappear. All of us can help them survive. How? By respecting nature, recycling, contaminating the least bit possible, buying only what we really need. If we make these efforts, we will be able to live in a much healthier planet. And we, at the same time, will be ensuring that no animal, not a single one, will ever be in danger of extinction again. Let's hope with everybody's help, we can make it.
You all know that the animals are divided into two big groups. The vertebrates that have an internal skeleton formed by bones, and the invertebrates invertebrates that have no bones. All the invertebrates are oviparous, and we classify them in 6 big groups: sponges, jellyfish, corals, worms, mollusks, echinoderms, and arthropods. The sponges are aquatic animals that are sac-shaped, and the body is full of pores. It is very easy to remember this group because many times we use them in the shower for our personal hygiene. Yes, many of the sponges we use in the shower are invertebrate animals. The jellyfish are invertebrate animals that live in the ocean. Their bodies are gelatinous and have tentacles. The truth is that when they appear in the beach, it is very annoying because their tentacles have small venomous stingers that produce very unpleasant bites. Corals are tiny marine animals that produce limestone residue, which give rise to beautiful shapes. Do you know this animal? Exactly, it's a worm. Worms are soft and long invertebrate animals that move by dragging their body in the ground because they have no feet. They can be aquatic or terrestrial. There are some worms that can be harmful, and that is why we must be careful with them. Can you see this snail? Well, snails form part of the mollusk group. Mollusks have a soft body without legs and can also be aquatic or terrestrial. Some, like the snail, this clam, and mussels, protect the body with shells. But there are other mollusks that don't have a shell to protect themselves, like slugs or octopuses. The echinoderms are exclusively aquatic animals. Their bodies have calcareous plates that form a shell. Some echinoderms are balloon-shaped and are covered in spikes that they use to defend themselves, like sea urchins. Others are star-shaped and are of course called starfish. The arthropods are the most abundant animals on the earth. Of every 100 animals that exist, 80 are arthropods. These invertebrate animals have the body covered by an external skeleton called a cuticle. The most common way to classify the arthropods is by the number of legs they have. This way we can classify them in 4 big groups. Arthropods with 6 legs. In this group, insects like ants and flies are present. Arthropods with 8 legs, where for example the arachnids like spiders and scorpions are. Arthropods with 10 legs include the crustaceans like crabs and lobster. Arthropods with more than 10 legs like the centipede that, as you can see, has much more than 100 legs and are called myriapods. Well, now you know a bit more about the invertebrates.
Same as insects, arachnids are invertebrates and belong to the arthropods. But don't get confused. Arachnids are part of a different animal group than insects. While insects have 6 legs, arachnids have 8, like you can see in these images. Spiders, scorpions, and dust mites are part of the arachnid family. and share a number of characteristics that we need to know. They have 4 pairs of articulated legs, don't have antennae or wings, but do have a pair of clamps by their mouth called chelicera that they use to hold their prey. A fun fact about arachnids is that they can't chew, so they swallow their prey by sucking them in. They suck the soft parts as if with a straw. They're carnivores, and spiders and scorpions feed from insects, other arachnids, and sometimes small reptiles and mammals. An arachnid's body is divided in 2 parts: cephalothorax, consisting of the head, and thorax, joined in a single segment, and the abdomen that can be segmented or not. Arachnids breathe through tracheas or pulmonary sacs. And when they're born, they look the same as they do when they're adults, but of course they are much smaller. Scorpions are the biggest arachnids. The largest ones can measure up to 20 centimeters. They have huge chelicera in their heads and use them to grab their prey before they inject venom with their sting at the end of their tail. Spiders are the most popular arachnids, but also the scariest. Most of them are venomous, but very few are truly dangerous for human beings. The truth is, spiders are astonishing animals. Also, apart from being able to produce their famous spider web, they are able to hunt their prey in multiple ways. Look, look! Dust mites are the least popular arachnids because they are so small you can't see them at a glance. They are microscopic. But what is true is that they are everywhere. In every house, there are thousands and thousands of dust mites. Well, now we know a little more about arachnids. The truth is they're very strange and mysterious animals. But they're important for the balance of life, for this marvelous life.
Presenting the fish. In almost all the places where you can find water, be it either salt water or fresh water, you can also find fish. There are fish of all sorts of sizes, shapes and colours, and yet they all have common characteristics, which you should know. Fish are vertebrates. Their skeleton is made up of bones or cartilage. They are also cold-blooded. Their temperature is not constant, meaning it depends on the water temperature. This fish looks really cold. All fish have extremities in the form of fins, as you can see in this image. Dorsal fins, caudal fins, which is the tail, pectoral fins, pelvic fins, and anal fin. Another really important fact that one must remember is that almost all fish are covered in scales. The gills are the fish's respiratory organ. The respiration process is very interesting. Water enters through the mouth and goes to the gills. The gills then collect the oxygen and distribute it to the rest of the body through the blood vessels. Then the water is expelled through an opening which can be found in the majority of the fish behind their head, which is called the gill flap. Fish reproduce by laying eggs. Therefore, they are oviparous, and their fertilization can be either external or internal. Some fish are excellent fathers, like this one who protects his babies inside his mouth. He looks as if he's going to eat them, but he's actually protecting them. Look at that! Isn't it amazing? Almost all fish are carnivores, eating other fish smaller than themselves, and therefore they each have different ways of defending themselves. The most common action to take is when feeling threatened is to escape as fast as possible, as in to swim away rapidly. But there are other ways of defending themselves that are much more original. For example, this clownfish finds hiding himself among these venomous enemies. Others imitate or camouflage themselves with their background by obtaining the color and shape of the plants and rocks around them. Can you see this fish in the image? Oh, well, there was indeed a fish, and a very hungry one. Look at this. This is the largest fish in the world, the whale shark. Even though it is called a whale shark, you must remember it is actually a shark, not a whale. Whales are not fish. They are aquatic animals, like these friendly dolphins. So never forget, whales and dolphins are not fish, but mammals. Now I have a very important fact you must always remember. It's extremely important. As you already know, fish, as well as many other animals, live in the water. Water is essential for life. And for this reason, we must look after it. We must protect it. There are people who dirty nature by throwing rubbish into the rivers and oceans without thinking about their terrible consequences they're causing. The plastics and substances which contaminate the water kill a huge amount of fish. Turtles, dolphins, whales, sharks, and many more die every day because of contamination. Water is a source of life. We must take care of it and protect it. So now you know, look after nature and all living things, and they can live happily.
Did you know that for every 4 animals, 3 of them are insects? We calculate that for every human being, there are 200 million insects. We are surrounded by insects, so I think it's important to get to know them a little more. Insects are invertebrate animals that share a number of characteristics. Their body is divided into head, thorax, and abdomen. They have 2 antennae, 6 legs, and breathe through their trachea. From the moment they are born, insects undergo a series of body changes called metamorphosis. Most insects are oviparous, and maggots are born from the eggs. As we can see in the images, they don't look anything alike their parents. They look like worms. When they grow, they enclose themselves in a cocoon they make with a substance called silk. Inside the cocoon, they undergo an incredible change in their bodies, and they exit as adult insects. This metamorphosis stage is called pupa, although when referring to butterflies, we call it chrysalis. The large majority of insects have wings. In fact, they are the only group of invertebrates that can fly. Another shared characteristic amongst insects is that they have almost perfect vision. They have compound eyes. It's as if they had hundreds of tiny eyes in each eye, which provides excellent peripheral vision. As we said before, there are so many insects, and there are also many types. There are very annoying insects like head lice, flies, or mosquitoes. Interesting insects because of their shape, like stick insects or leaf insects. Beautiful ones like butterflies. or dragonflies? Or singer insects like a grasshopper or cricket that, besides from singing, is an excellent jumper? But do you know my favourite insect? It's a bee, because I love the honey they make. Some insects, like ants or bees, live in highly organised societies where they each have a job assigned. The queen ant, for example, is in charge of laying eggs. Drone ants protect the nest. And worker ants are in charge of getting food and taking care of maggots. The truth is, insects are incredible, and although by their size they might seem unimportant, they are fundamental for nature's balance. For example, they are in charge, along with some birdies, of pollination. Some insects, like my beloved bees, are constantly flying from flower to flower, transporting pollen from one flower to the next, fertilizing them, which makes new amazing plants come to life. The truth is, most insects, like most living things, are marvelous, don't you think? Goodbye, friends. See you next time.
Search us and subscribe to Happy Learning's YouTube channel.